The Toronto Raptors are heading into a season which they've dubbed the first year of their rebuild, but they still want to be competitive and try and win games. Most of the starters have written themselves in, but there's one spot up for grabs, and it's very debatable. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. This is Amateur Sports 2, the second channel in the Amateur Hour Production Network, where I give you additional Toronto Raptors content in videos just like this. Make sure you drop a like if you enjoy and subscribe for more just like it. So today we're going through the Raptors and a little bit of their depth chart, but specifically we are focusing on one of these starting spots. Because as I said in the intro, 4 of the starters really write themselves in for the Raptors. Immanuel Quickley is the starting point guard. Scottie Barnes and Barett are starting in some capacity as forwards, on the wing, whatever you want to call it. Jakob Poeltl is the starting center, but the 5th starter, who is that going to be? For large parts of last season, when guys were healthy, which was a bit rare, Gary Trent was the starter there. Gary Trent was a starting shooting guard, but obviously Gary Trent is no longer with the team. So who is it going to be? The Raptors have 2 different options here. They could go with Bruce Brown, the much more seasoned veteran, much more accustomed to winning, won the championship with the Denver Nuggets just over a year ago. Or for the rebuild phase, they could go with Gradey, the player who's younger, less experienced, but provides additional shooting. Maybe not quite as good as of yet as Bruce Brown, but is he a better fit with the starting 5? Would you rather go with the younger player for the starting 5? That's what I did when I went through the Raptors' depth chart for the upcoming season. I listed Gradey as my starting shooting guard, but did cite that definitely Bruce Brown could squeeze into that role. What I like about Gradey here is that, well, first of all, this is a rebuild season. I'd rather get the younger player who's more likely to be with the Raptors long term. I'd rather give him the play time and give him the experience, especially considering this is a very young team that we have here. Barett, 24, 25. Immanuel Quickley's 25. Scottie Barnes just turned 23. I'd rather have Gradey playing with these guys, getting used to playing with these guys. Because, here's our core 3, Quickley, Barett, Barnes. But I think we could start to consider Gradey as the 4th member of that core. So get those reps with those players. On top of that, not just a youth factor, I think overall from a fit perspective, I'd rather give the floor spacing to these guys and the real 5th man in this spot who can play completely off ball, play as a movement shooter, play as a spot up shooter, a guy who's going to catch and attack closeouts and just make life easier for his teammates. I'm not saying Bruce Brown isn't a good player, but we're better served having him on the ball more often, I think, in these bench units, playing as a 6-man. 6-man was the role that he was playing with the Denver Nuggets when they won the NBA championship. That's how I feel ultimately about the 2 positions here. I could see the Raptors going Bruce Brown, but I would much prefer they go with Gradey. But I was curious because last season I thought Gradey should have been starting. Gary Trent was starting ahead of him. Didn't love that. I felt like I'd rather have given the reps to Gradey, but I think it was pretty split from a fan base on who they would have rather had playing those minutes last season. So I decided to ask in this offseason, ahead of the season, who would you rather start here? Would you rather start Gradey or would you rather start Bruce Brown? And let's just say the results were rather overwhelming because 82% of the fans, of the supporters, in the community, of the 2,100 plus voters, 82% have said they would rather start Gradey over Bruce Brown. Now that's a bit higher than I expected. I expected Gradey to win this poll. I expect him to win it like maybe 63, 64, 65%. 82%. My goodness. So with the voting here, I think a lot of it is people share the same sentiments as I, where I'd rather have the younger player in. The floor spacer makes more sense with the rest of the starting 5. I think a lot of what's spawning this as well is that I think a lot of fans are struggling to accept that Bruce Brown is here to stay for the time being. He's not very likely not going to get traded in the offseason, and many fans want to see him traded. I think a lot of this is fans not coming to grips with the fact that Bruce Brown will very likely be here to start the season and be here for a good chunk of the season. And if things are wrong, it could be here for the entire season, mind you. And I think a lot of this is that people just don't like Bruce Brown because of that. And people don't like Bruce Brown because of the way he finished last season. When he got traded to the Raptors, he just wasn't really playing at his best. You can talk about the role. You can talk about the future uncertainty. You can talk about, he said that there was an injury that was niggling and bothering him. Whatever the reason may be, the Raptors and the fan base did not see Bruce Brown at his best, which could be a large reason why fans have, more or less turned on the player. So for me, and clearly for most of you watching this video, you would rather go with Gradey Dick from the starting five. But what is Darko Rajakovic going to think? Because at the end of the day, that is the be-all, end-all. If Darko Rajakovic's in the camp that you need to start Bruce Brown, then he's going to start Bruce Brown. I think now he has shown a desire to go with the more experienced players. I mean, I'm just thinking here. You obviously won't have the full bench lineup. Well, I say that. I was about to say you won't have the full bench lineup playing together, but that is absolutely what's going to happen because that's what Darko Rajakovic actually does, which I don't like. If you played the full bench unit together, I think it would be really tough on Walter and Gradey Dick to play in the wing spots. I think you just do need a bit of that extra versatility that Bruce Brown offers there, and he's still a decent spot-up shooter. I think the balance of the lineups just makes more sense like this. For some reason, something's just saying to me that Darko is going to go with Bruce Brown in the starting five. I'm trying to find one reason to justify that, and I can't. Like the balance here. Mitchell's not as much of a shooter. Abaji, good grief, he's supposed to be, isn't really shooting. But you've got space in here. You've got more space for Bruce Brown to be a bit of a ball handler. Jakob Poeltl is your movement shooter in that lineup. If you throw Gradey Dick in there, I just think you sacrifice way too much ball, like not enough ball handling overall in these lineups. And you have too much here. Like Quickley wants the ball. Barett wants the ball. Barnes wants the ball. He doesn't. He's fine not having the ball. He's fine completely off ball. So in the end, something's saying to me that Darko Rajakovic is going to go with Bruce Brown as the starting two guard or whatever you want it to be, starting over Gradey Dick. Something's telling me he's going to want to go with Bruce Brown for the experience, the veteran stuff, all that. But I can't see like one real concrete reason that makes sense and is justifiable for that decision. So I guess we'll just have to see. We'll probably have some sort of an indication as we get towards preseason which way they're going to do things here. But for me, yeah, and clearly for the people voting in the amateur army, Gradey Dick should be the guy that starts alongside Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barett, Scottie Barnes, Jakob Poeltl. It'd make me a lot more excited for the season to get a lot more of Gradey Dick. And hey, just because you start doesn't mean you need to play the bulk minutes there. Like, Gradey Dick could be subbed out after 5 minutes. Bruce Brown comes in. That also works. But for the balance, start Gradey Dick. That's what I would do. That's what the Raptors should do. So what do you make of this decision? Do you agree with the 82%? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that's all for me for today. Check out my other channels. This is my main channel, Amateur Sports, with nearly 18,000 subscribers. This is Amateur Reactions, the best stream clips and highlights to this channel over here from the streams on this channel. Subscribe to the channel you're currently watching on. Here's another video you may enjoy, and I'll see you again next time for another video right here on Amateur Sports number 2.